Hey, y'all. Elise Smith here, and welcome to the Socially Awesome Podcast, where we empower mompreneurs to implement simple social media strategies into their businesses and elevate their online presence. I'm a mompreneur of three, an affiliate marketer, a network marketer, an influencer, a social media marketing agency owner, and your personal guru. I am here to give you tips, tricks, and tools that you need to build your social media business. Let's dive in.
Hey, you guys. Welcome back to the Socially Awesome Podcast. Elise Smith here. I'm your host, and I'm so excited to have a guest. For those of you that don't know, we haven't had guests on the podcast in probably a year, and I had to bring it back, and I'm telling you now, Karrie was the perfect, I called her my guinea pig before we actually started recording, but she is the perfect person for us to just take this back off with, because she helps business owners create systems in their business to increase their sales with their lead generation, their lead capture, honestly, capturing and converting. I mean, if I was to boil this down, that's the simplest way. She shows you how to convert your social media presence into nonstop sales machine. So thank you so much for being with me today, Karrie. You are an expert. I've been following you for years. I'm really excited just to have you on the podcast.
Yay, I'm super excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. So I like to just start this off with you giving us just a rundown of who you are, what you do, how you got into the entrepreneurial space. I know your story, but I want everyone else to hear your story because it's super inspiring. So will you just kind of fill me in? How'd you get this going?
For sure. So I'm a Jersey girl through and through. I got introduced to the online space after I had gone through a divorce. I was a mom of three at the time, high school Spanish teacher. Obviously, things didn't work out. I got divorced and I was living that paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. And, social media at the time, I guess it was back, I'm aging myself here. That was way back in like 2018. Social media was like just starting to take off, like TikTok was taking off. I saw all these people that were like making money online, and I always had an interest in technology. I was a high school Spanish teacher, but believe it or not, I wanted to be a technology teacher. When I went to college, I just didn't have the credentials to do it. And I saw all these people making money, and I reached out. Someone told me about network marketing. I didn't even know what it was. And I dove in as a way to make money while I could be home with my kids and not have to get a job bartending. And it kind of took off. In 2020 was the year when everybody's businesses kind of exploded. I jumped on that wave. I was super coachable and eager and hungry for it, and the rest is kind of history. We'll talk about what it led me to today as we get into the podcast here, but that's kind of how it all started.
I love it. And this is something I read even I think yesterday or maybe early this morning. You had posted about that story, and I love that you bring that into your marketing, because I think that's so important for people to see that obviously what you started doing back then is not necessarily what you're doing today. And I talk a lot on the podcast about pivoting, and I like to say go with your gut. I think at some point in your life you need change, in your business you need change. So tell me a little bit about how you have gone from where you started in the online space to helping people automate and elevate. How did you build what you're building today out of where you started from?
Such a loaded question. So when I got started, what's the word to describe it? I didn't really know what I was doing. I was fumbling through it. And, pivot's a good word because I was fumbling. I was watching what people were doing. I was tweaking and trying and copying what others did and making it my own, because that's kind of what we do, especially on TikTok. You get a trend and you make it your own. So my business was evolving. As I said, it exploded. It led to me resigning from teaching and becoming a full-time entrepreneur in, 2020? 2021, sorry. 2021, I resigned from the classroom. I was done, and I entered 2 feet into the online world. So at that time, I was making 6 figures in network marketing, and a 6-figure income that was exploding came with a lot of challenges. And the challenges that I found were that I was on my phone constantly. I was unavailable to my family. I had found my new love in my life, and I was ignoring him. Like, it was just all of these, it was like the perfect storm of like, I was doing really well, but at the same time, I really wasn't. I was on Zoom meetings all night long, and it really wasn't what I signed up for. It wasn't what I saw all these girls promoting on social media. Like they're laying on the beach, like, I worked for an hour today. And I'm like, well, I didn't work for an hour today. I just worked for 14 hours. So I started to watch more, and I was watching what people that were having that success. I really dialed in to their content, and I started to do what I call a little bit of investigating. I was doing like competitive market research. I'm like, what are these girls doing really? Because
Yes.
they're not sending copy and paste messages. I know it. I started to investigate, and what I found were systems. They had systems in place to quickly connect with people. They had systems in place to send people to, webinars or Zoom calls. They were using, and this was my first introduction, they were using text message marketing. My business was exploding on TikTok at the time. I had videos with millions of views. I grew my TikTok to like 181,000 followers during that time when I was building, and I couldn't keep up. Someone introduced me to text message marketing, and they showed it in a way that I could like get in touch with these people fast. I could blast out a message not from my personal phone number, and I could connect with dozens, hundreds, thousands of people with the touch of a button. Literally send a message, put my phone down, go hang out with my family, come back and reply to all these people. And it was like magic. I was like, this is amazing. And that was kind of what started the automate and elevate and the systematizing and where I am today.
I love that so much. And that is something anyone that has been following me, especially, over the last, I would say 12 months, knows that in a lot of my marketing, you hear me say, if you don't have systems, you are the system. And that's exactly what you saw when you were first getting started, was that you had to be the system. You had to be in the business 24/7. And I think I don't think I found you on TikTok. I think the first time I saw your content was on IG, but it was all about text message marketing. And at the time, I was super active in network marketing as well, and project broadcasts and all of these things. And I love that you said you did investigative marketing, because it is so important for you to know what's out there and how to build. And you really took it by storm and ran with it. So I think my question would be, how did you go from, it was in the space in my business where, I obviously didn't have the time freedom that I thought I would have. I did the competitive research, I built the systems, to now wanting to help others put that into their business. Like, where did your passion for automation come from?
That's a great question. So for me, and this is like my servant heart, like I'm the type of person that will and I get this from my mom. And my parents are entrepreneurs. So I guess that's what I have this fire in me to just do. I don't want people to struggle. Like if I've figured something out and I've unlocked something, I don't want people to go through all those hardships that I went through, like the saying no to their kids, telling them I'm almost done, and, arguing with their significant others. So for me, when I dialed it in and figured it out, I don't want people to have to go through those years of struggle like I did to unlock the key, or to figure out, hey, now I have, 25 notepads, or, whatever the struggle is, and then they create a system. I want to help entrepreneurs create a system from the beginning, so that their business can be dialed in way sooner, so that they can tell their significant other, hey, that little side gig that I signed up for, or that thing that I'm doing on social media, it's actually working, rather than their significant other, telling them, you know how it goes. Like, is that little thing working? That was the talk, you guys, of my family's dinners for years. Like Thanksgiving, Christmas, they've all made fun of me. They've all told me that my social media, like, what are you doing? How's your little thing going? And I just stuck with it. So now that's where my passion is, helping people
I love it.
figure it out.
I love it. So let's get into some tactical things, if you're okay with that, because I love tactical. That's me. I don't do the concepts. We could talk about talking and having a meeting about having a meeting about having a meeting. That's too corporate for me. I like the tactical stuff. So I would ask you, when that person that is relating to your story relates to my story, because I did the hustle forever as well. until I decided to take the time to build systems. What would you say if they were like, I'm ready to put some automation in my business? How would you advise them to figure out what areas of their business they should start the automation in? Because I do believe, and this is my opinion, but I believe you can over automate. You can have too many systems doing the same thing and have where, their leads are falling through the cracks. So how would you tell them to diagnose their business of what area to automate first?
Ooh, coming at me with these loaded questions.
I know.
What's the first thing I would tell someone to focus on? So it's fun to ask that because I think I had like 3 people reach out to me this morning from content that I posted. So the first thing that I would tell like an entrepreneur to dial in would be the solution. Like, we're all on social media to sell. If you're listening to this podcast, you're here because you want to make money from what you're doing on social. So dialing in, what is the thing that you're selling? And I like to help people come up with something that they can offer to get these people onto their list and off of social media. Like, that's my main jam. And that is something that I wish I learned sooner. And the reason I share that, there's multiple reasons. One, we want to protect ourselves. We want to build a list that we own, that's something that's ours, not get locked out, shut down, hacked, whatever. Second, social media, like, people don't see our content all the time, whether it's because of the algorithm or just because they didn't log on to social media in general. They might be traveling, they might be at work, they might be just taking a break for a while. How are they ever going to see your stuff? But you know what they will see? A text message or an email. So if I had to tell somebody like something to do first, it would be, what can we come up with that you can give someone in exchange for their information to start building your list? And when I first say that, that's a loaded question. People are like, well, what do I come up with? And there's a ton of things. Like, some people are able to offer like a discount code or free shipping, or you've gone to a website where you go to shop and the little pop-up comes up and they tell you to enter your info. I like to help people build something like that that's basic though. Like, you could give someone a checklist, a basic little checklist, like how to clean your house, 3 things. Hey, give me your info, your text message, and I will send you the checklist to get started with cleaning your home. Something like that would be the first thing that I would do, because here's the deal. As everything's evolving, as your business is growing, as you're scaling, as you're getting more busy, the bigger you can build that list that's yours, that you own, the money is in it. The money's in the list.
Yeah.
And you would probably agree.
Agreed. 100%. And you actually said something earlier that I loved, was that, when we're looking at building systems, your goal is to help entrepreneurs build the system from the get, because you don't want them to go through all the pain that you went through. And I think that's one thing, in my opinion, that holds people back from automation. There's always the fear of tech. There's always the fear of sounding robotic. I mean, all of those things are just myths, honestly, because you and I both know there are a lot of ways to automate authentically. And that's something that I really stress with my students in my programs, is there is such thing as authentic automation, and you obviously mastered that. But I agree 100% with doing the automation from the very beginning, because something that I say a lot in my content is, if you're maxed out on time today, how are you going to make more sales? You're not. How are you going to scale? If you say to yourself today, I don't have enough time, and you're making 10 sales, how are you going to get to 100 sales? How are you going to get to 1,000? And so automation is the only way to do that. And we also know a certain extent of business is a numbers game. And I love that. I watch your content all the time about nurturing and not only emailing your list about sales. So having that lead capture, like you talked about, something in exchange for information, ultimately is how you get the numbers that you need, not only for more sales, but for better research and improvement. Because if I bring 100 people through my lead capture system, I'm going to get a lot of metrics out of that. I'm going to learn a lot more than 10 people coming through. So I absolutely agree. And that would kind of lead into my next question. So you help people with lead capture systems. You're freaking amazing at that. And developing some sort of juicy lead magnet people actually want. But what happens after you get their name and their email? And how does automation take a play into that?
That is a great question. And one thing I want to add, like as you're talking, I was just thinking this before I answer that question is as we're connecting with people on social media, here's the other piece. When someone finds us, it's usually while they have like 10, 15 minutes of time. And if they find you and they want information from you, this is the most important part of automation. They want it now. They don't want to wait. Like back in the day when I started network marketing and I was a teacher, I would get back to people 24, 48 hours later. Nowadays, like because people can get information and consume it so quickly. I mean, my husband showed me a couple months ago how you can screenshot something with like Google Lens and it'll tell you what's in the picture. So it's like if they find you and they don't hear back from you instantly, they're going to screenshot it. They're going to go find your product and they're going to purchase it. And you're now in the rear view. So it's like we're competing with all of that. So automation, where some people, I get clients that I talk to and they say, but I don't want to automate. It's important because I'm sure you would agree. The time when I'm available to scroll, I'm one of those people that I want it now. I only have 15, 20 minutes in the morning or at night that I'm in my downtime. I don't want to wait for somebody to get back to me. I'm that person that's like, give it to me. Give me all the stuff. So after the capture, let's answer your question. So after someone is now on your list, they have given you either their text, their email, both. You've delivered a checklist, free shipping, whatever it is, you've captured them. So in that moment, I like to, as you're capturing them, share something about your products, like share your product, your opportunity, whatever you have going on. It's a warm lead. While the info, the free stuff still went to their text or it still went to their inbox, but get in front of them with something that maybe they do want to take that next step to work with you. Maybe they are ready to enroll in your program or grab your weight loss product or whatever it is. But if they don't, then that's where you're throwing them into that nurture sequence, as we call it, that welcome sequence, where you're going to be able to share. Because here's the other piece. When someone finds your reel, they just saw literally 0.01% of your world. But once you have them on your list, you can now introduce them to so much more of your world. You can tell them how you got started, what your expertise is, other places they can connect with you, like Facebook groups, YouTube channels, podcasts. Then from there, think about it. Why do we purchase things? We purchase based on reading reviews, the social proof, the success of others. So you do all of that in this nurture sequence so that they can see more reviews. They can see the results that someone has had working with you. And then ultimately, they might not make a purchase still, even after all that effort, but they're on your list. So ongoing, my clients that I work with, my students that I work with, they just continue. You got to keep going. Sometimes, and I'm sure you'd agree, it takes people up to a year or more before they finally add to cart. But like I said, when we first started, they're going to lose you on social. There is just so much competition on social now. And the only way to actually stay in their mind that you know with 100% certainty is the text or the email.
No, I agree 100% because, and that's something, you even said this a little bit earlier, but your entire goal is to get people off social media onto your list. That is the purpose of content because we don't own social media accounts. I lost a TikTok account at like 11,000 followers. I just woke up one day, it was gone. It happened. And we don't want our business success to be determined by algorithms. They're always changing. They're affected by political stuff. They're affected by, holiday season. There's ads, all this stuff. So yes, I absolutely agree that getting people off social media onto your list and then nurturing them into working with you or just nurturing them for trust building in general is so crucial. So, all right, I got a couple more loaded questions for you. So, so if you had to pick, what would be your top system? Because obviously when we think about automation, there's softwares included. And there's a lot of different automation softwares out there. There's, I could name 100 probably off the bat. And then there's free, there's paid. So what would be your top recommendation for automation system or software for someone to use? And what would it do for their business? Like what is the potential? Because something I also talk about a lot is we have to, as entrepreneurs, think of, our time as money. I mean, your time is your money. And so I talk a lot in my content about if I could pay for this one tool every month and it saves me 5 hours a month, what is my hourly rate? How much is that tool saving me? And then looking at it in the terms of how much is it going to make me? Because all of these hours it's saving. So what would be your top tool and what could it do for their business?
You should do some content on this one day because I would love to have a reel broken down like how you just explained that. How do we break this down into time? So if I could say my own tool that I personally share with all my clients, it's actually my Automate and Elevate platform. And the reason why I share that, and I'm going to be 100% transparent with you guys, like I'll compare it to others out there and tell you why I recommend it. So Automate and Elevate gives you the email, the SMS. You can do those like many chat type automations that we get when we're on Instagram hanging out. You get those auto replies, the auto DMs. You have the ability to set up your calendar on there, like your Calendly. You can sell your products. A lot of us are selling our own stuff, not just selling like network marketing products. You can sell your own things. You can blog. I mean, and I'm just scratching the surface. You can do your social media posts on your Facebook professional pages and your Instagram and your YouTube. It's literally your all-in-one tool, all in one spot. Now, I know some of you listening are probably familiar with like Stan Store, for example, and I think Stan is a phenomenal alternative. I know that they've leveled it up. They now do more emailing. They now do the courses and accepting payments and things like that. However, if you are in this for the long game and you are in this to like build your brand, build your business, the reason why I would suggest mine is because you can brand it to yourself. You're sending someone to your website. So it would be karrieaugustine.com versus stanstore/12345. So you have that ability, big picture, where you can essentially build it to your heart's desire. You can do the courses. You can have a membership. That's the other piece too that I think a lot of entrepreneurs are looking for, a way to have a community for their customers and clients that is an all-in-one fit. Because I don't know how many of you listening have connected with people on TikTok and you invite them to your Facebook group and they say, well, I'm not on Facebook. I've had that happen to me dozens of times. Well, on the Automate and Elevate platform, you can build an offline community that anyone can join. They don't have to have a social media profile. So you can have your Instagrammers, your TikTokers, your Facebookers all in one spot with all those same Facebook group functionalities where you can tag everyone. You could schedule your posts and you can gamify the group. So if I had to share, that's what I would go with.
Yes, and you guys will 100% back up Karrie on this when it comes to like, the long haul. Now, I am a Stan Store ambassador, so I do utilize Stan Store as my link in bio tool because my website is probably 18 pages at this point. So if I sent someone to my website straight from TikTok, they might go, oh, well, like this is a little much. I don't know where to even start. So I use Stan Store as my link in bio tool, but as far as like my sales, if you click on something in my Stan Store, it's going to bring you to my website. So that I absolutely agree with you that, building your own branding 100%. And I actually use the same platform as Karrie uses, and 10 out of 10, it has replaced so many software charges. And I think as an entrepreneur, especially depending on where you are in your business when you're listening to this, if you're just getting started and maybe you don't have super consistent income, you're a little nervous to invest. But I want to challenge you again to think of your time as money. How much time are you spending connecting all the pieces from all of the different systems you're using? How much time are you spending every month, double checking that your Zaps worked or this worked or that worked? And then how much money are you leaving on the table because things aren't connected? Your leads from Instagram Messenger aren't getting put into your email software or all of these things. So I challenge you. I know software can be a little intimidating for entrepreneurs, especially if they don't feel like they're techy, but I'm telling you, when you have a centralized hub, like Karrie's telling you about, it does change the game because you're a lot more confident that you know exactly where your audience is in the buying process.
Yeah, I would
Do you
agree.
agree?
I mean, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
agreeing with what you're saying just because it's like making me think back to when I started and I had those hesitancies as well. And I was like, I don't need
agree.
that software yet. There's going to come a point where you're going to need it. And now you have to essentially kind of start from jump
Yeah,
because, like you just said, if you're using an app like Boards, which I think Boards is phenomenal, Boards now build these landing pages and you can capture people on Boards. But once you capture them, are you spending the time to plug them into a nurture sequence? Are you
yes,
spending the time to plug them into a project broadcast? Why not dial it in from the beginning on something that's working? That way you now systematized. You've systematized,
agree.
you've gotten your time back, and yeah.
I actually did, man. I mean, like everything we're talking about right now, and for those of you listening, like all of December on this podcast is about automation, and even some of the January, and I'll kind of spill the details on why. Ari and I will do that together here in a few minutes. But you know, you're gonna hear me say these same things over and over. And I want to say yesterday in my content, I actually said this one word is what's holding you back in your business, and the word is when. Everyone has, I'll I'll get a system or I'll get a software when I reach this many sales or when I've been in business this long. And in actuality, you're not going to reach that point. You're not going to be able to hit those big cash months that you want or have more hours in your day to spend with your family and stop being glued to your phone until it's not when, it's until you take that step and you do those things. So absolutely, I mean, everything you shared today has been just golden. So I got a couple, a little, not personal questions. I'm not going to air anything personal, but I do have some questions about your experience. I like to kind of end these interviews with just entrepreneurial advice in general. So what's the best piece of advice you've received about running your own business? What would you pass along to those listening? The best piece of advice you feel like you've gotten?
Well, it's actually from a piece of what I shared on my post yesterday. And it really just goes back to day one of why I started the entrepreneurial journey. My kids and needing to make ends meet and wanting to be there for them and wanting to be a yes mom. And the piece of advice I got that really sunk in and I revisit in my head a lot is who loses if you don't win? So, who in my life is going to lose if I'm not successful? So, if I don't show up and consistently post content, how's that going to affect my family? If I don't show up and consistently do the things or build the website or set up the automation or send the email today, who am I impacting? I'm impacting my family. I'm impacting my kids. Potentially, like if I don't have the money coming in, then I'm sorry, we can't sign up for whatever sport. We can't go on this vacation. So I feel like I revisit that a lot in my head, especially when I'm stressed out, I'm down, I'm, comparing myself to someone out there that's having success and I'm asking myself, why aren't you there yet, Karrie? Like what are you doing? And I just think about it, who am I impacting? And it's not even just me. Let's take it a step further. If you're not posting the content and doing the do and setting up a system like I just described with your freebie and your checklist, how many lives aren't you impacting on social media? What if you have a story to share? How you got through something in your life, how you had success taking a product or starting a coaching program and you're not talking about it. You're not showing up. How many lives out there on social media are you negatively impacting because they need what you have? So it works on both ends. It's for you personally and as well as all the lives out there that you're
Yeah,
not affecting because
staying super connected to your why. I love that. I love that. And remembering that as you are if you have that tug or you have that pull of going with your gut and feeling like you need to do something different or feeling like it's finally time for you to take on systems or maybe put out that offer you've been fearful to, go back to your why and see, does this align with why I started and why I'm doing this? So absolutely incredible. My next question for you would be, obviously today's all about automating to elevate their business, but what would be your best, either your own or customer success story that you've seen for someone who has put automation in the business? Like what, just to leave them with some inspiration here of what's possible. What would you say, can you give us a little bit of detail on the best results you've seen from this?
The best results I've seen. Maybe we'll go with two ends of the spectrum here. So I'll go with one of my clients that has, viral content all over the place, 300,000 followers on Instagram. When we first started talking about systems and automation, she was so reluctant to the idea. Like, I don't need this. I don't want this. I don't see the value in this. Wanted to continue doing everything her way. Felt like, if I put any automations in and ask people to enter their info, they're just going to scroll off because nobody wants to do that. That's what a lot of people think. But the success that I've had with her in 2024, because we started, I guess, the end of 2023, putting her systems in place. So it's been a full year. She has added, I think we're up to 35,000 people to her email list. She has consistently pulled in upwards of 300 customers a month. Just yesterday, actually, she had a customer that we tracked, and the customer had joined her list back in April and just now joined. So the success there is because she was getting, when we started, I think she was getting like about 18,000 clicks on her milkshake per month. And all of that traffic, it wasn't converting. At the time, I think she was at about 125 customers she was averaging a month. And when you do the math, like, people are just clicking, but they're leaving. She had no way to continue to build the relationship. So I guess that would be my high-end success story. And then lower end,
Love it.
my one client on Facebook, she has built, so she had an audience of, I'm going to say her audience, like followers. She had about 1,200 friends. And then, on Facebook, you could also follow. So at the time, she had 2,000 followers. So 1,500 friends, 2,000 followers. And over a period of 3 months, she grew her audience to 30,000 followers. And she added 1,500 people to her email list. And hers was pretty cool because she started sharing a guide for insulin resistance. I loved it. It was just, she was putting content out there, helping women talk about insulin resistance. And she would throw a post up just asking people who was interested in her free guide. And she would just get troves of comments. And she would pull them in, build that relationship. So now with her list, it's really exciting because she started, much like me, with just network marketing products. But now, because she sees the vision and how it's evolving and like all these conversations she has going, it's now pivoting into coaching. So now she's going to be able to do like her own branding and her own stuff and sell her own products instead of, just a network marketing product, which is kind of cool.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So much goodness. Let's just get to our announcement here, because at this point, I mean, if you don't leave today's episode hearing the results here and why automation is important in your business, and again, no matter where you are in your business, because we have a wide range of people that will listen to this, from just started yesterday to people that have been in business for years, there is always a way for you to buy back time in your business with systems and building that out. And I know there's that fear around doing it. I know there's that fear that something will go wrong or haywire or start sending messages or sound like a robot. And that will happen, you guys. I've had automations go crazy before. Usually it's set up. It's not usually the system. And that's why Karrie's here, because she helps people set things up. I have had many chat just start sending people links, and I'm like, oh no, what happened? But I want to help those that want 2025 to look different. They want to not only bring in more sales with automation, but to get more of that time back. Just like you shared in the beginning, 18-hour days. Like, that's just not why you started. So Karrie and I are collaborating on a challenge in January. And our goal for this challenge, I'm going to give you guys just a quick little run through of it. And then, of course, I want Karrie to plug in and give her feedback about this as well. But, my goal with this challenge and bringing Karrie in is to, one, set that foundation to show you the why behind automation. And we've done a lot of that in today's episode of, highlighting what automation can do for you, how it can pull you out of that constant hustle, how it can relieve some of that time for you, but also how it can unlock potential for more sales, more lead capture for your business. And we want to help you put this into your business by allowing you to be more confident with it. Because honestly, when it comes down to business, it really does come down to confidence and clarity. It doesn't come down to being a good salesperson. It doesn't come down to how popular you are or whatever. I mean, my God, I'm recording this with absolutely no makeup on. Like, it's not about the looks. It's about confidence and clarity. If you're confident in your business, you're going to show up differently. You're going to connect with people differently. You're going to make more sales. If you have clarity in your business, you're going to go in the direction. You're going to do what's best for the business, what's best for your family, what's best for your life. So our entire goal with this challenge is to help you become more confident and have more clarity around putting automation in your business to elevate it. And we're going to host this challenge. Let me pull those dates up so I don't give you the wrong date. January 6th through 10th. At the time of this going live, you can go ahead and register. We will have the registration link in the show notes. And I'll also have all the information you need to connect with Karrie and not only follow her on social, but she's got some absolutely amazing resources for you to plug into in the show notes as well. But this will be a 4-day live challenge. There will be a 5th-day option with a live Q&A, so you can find all of that in the show notes. But together, she and I are going to, again, help you understand why automation is important for your business. We're going to do, a lot of content and help you with how to generate leads, nurture those leads, streamline your operation, what's slowing you down in your automation, how to fix it, where those bottlenecks are in your business. So it's going to be absolutely incredible. And Karrie, fill us in. What are your thoughts and goals around this challenge? Because this is what people need in 2025. It's time. If you're not already doing automation,
I love it. I love how you talked about like troubleshooting different parts, because that's the thing. Like, when a lot of people get started with automation, it can be intimidating, and you wonder, like, what should my message say? How do I make it like personalized? And for me, that's something I absolutely love. Like, I love helping people feel genuine, authentic, very value forward approach. Like, my whole philosophy is like, I want to teach you all how to show up in people's inboxes, on social media, or in their text messages, so that they see your name and they're excited. They're not seeing your name pop up and they're like, oh my gosh, what is she selling now? So that is my jam. It's what I love. And yeah, I'm really excited for this.
Yes. Like I said, you guys, everything will be in the show notes. You're not going to want to wait. You're going to want to go ahead when this episode's over and register. So 1, you don't forget, and 2, so that you are committed. And I'm going to tell you now, we're doing this for you for less than a peppermint frappuccino. All right, $7, you're going to get in the challenge. There is a VIP option if you want to opt into that. With the VIP option, you'll get lifetime access to the recording. So if maybe you're a little worried you're not going to be able to be on live, definitely snag the VIP. You're also going to get a bundle put together from me, Karrie, that will help you plug and play some of this into your business. So a couple options for you there. But Karrie, this was absolutely incredible. Honestly, I couldn't ask, like I said, for a better person to start this off with guests coming back, but also to do my first collab in 2025, because, I do really believe, and this is something I talk about to my audience all the time, but, it's collaboration over competition. And you are someone that is super valuable to me, super valuable to my audience. You've got so much knowledge to share, and I'm just really excited about this challenge.
Yay! I'm echoing everything, all of that times 10. I love it.
And if you are listening to this, I'll leave you guys with this. If you're listening on Tuesday, the 17th, when this actually goes live on the podcast, if you're listening to the replay, it's cool. You'll still be able to see. But tomorrow, December 18th, Inside Socially Awesome Entrepreneurs, my free Facebook community, Karrie and I will also be live in there, giving you some more golden nuggets on automation and how to put it in your business. So if you're listening to this at the time it goes live, join us live tomorrow at noon CST in the Facebook community. You can find that in the show notes as well. If you're listening to this months or years from that point, you can still find the replay. It's always housed in the community. But with that being said, if you got any value out of this episode, if Karrie and I brought anything to you that gave you an aha moment, or even you just like listening to our voices, take a screenshot of you listening to this, throw it in your IG stories, tag her, tag me. We want to celebrate you plugging in and investing in your business and taking the time to listen and learn for that growth for yourself. So we want to celebrate with you. Make sure to tag us. As always, if you got any, again, value out of this, you want to give me some feedback or leave a review for the podcast, definitely do that. It is my love language. It inspires me to keep putting these episodes out there for you. And that's it, you guys. Until next time, make it simple, make it social, make it awesome. Bye, everyone.